Hey everyone, in this tutorial I will show you my workflow of how I import Marvel Design animations and texture the garment in Substance Painter and render the final image in Blender. This tutorial will be split in different parts. The first one will be export the animation from Blender to Marvel Design. The second one, set up the animation in MD, uvmappping and export the clothes to Substance Painter. The third one will be importing and set up texturing in Substance. And finally, in the fourth part, I will bake the simulation in Marvel Design and export the whole animation to Blender to make the final render. Keep in mind that this method is not the perfect one, but I think this is gonna help a lot of people that have trouble with importing the final garment simulation to Blender. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is to make sure to set the origin point to the word origin. Otherwise, this will make the animation slide when you import to Marvel Design. For the animation, set a rest pose on the first frame and offset the main animation for about 20 or 30 frames. This will be the default pose to put our clothes in. I recommend you to bake the animation to prevent other issues in Marvels, but it's optional. Don't forget to apply the rotation in the armature. And finally, we can select the mesh and the armature, click on export and select the Alembic file. Make sure that you export only the select object. Check if the frame start and the end is correct and then click on export. Alright, inside Marvel Design, you're gonna go to File, Import and choose Alembic. Make sure that you set the frame rate to be the same of Blender. Click on centimeters and OK. Now you can start making your clothing. When you are done, you can go to the Untitled tab. And you're probably gonna see something like this. Your garments are sharing the same position in this viewport. To organize that, what you can do is right click and choose Set UV from Partner Alignment. As you can see, the partner now have the same position as the Simulation tab. Now is the important part. You have to organize this pattern according to what materials you want in the final mesh. For example, in my case I want one material for every piece of clothing. This is why I put each one in a separate UV tile. When we go to Blender, we're gonna use the UDEM grid to keep things more organized. But for now, just keep in mind that every UV tile is gonna be a different material in Blender. Okay, so now we can export this to Substance Painter. Select your garment, go to File, Export, OBJ Select. Select Single Object, Thin, and set the scale to meters. And then click OK. Now in Substance Painter, you're gonna create a new project, import your OBJ mesh, and you have to check Use UV Tile Workflow and convert UV tile into individual texture sets. This will convert every UV tile space to a separate material, as you can see. Don't forget to bake your texture maps and then you can start painting. So when you finish your texture process, you can export your texture for the desired location. And don't forget to name your materials according to the garment pieces. Now we can finally bake the cloth simulation. Go to the Animation tab. Check if the simulation quality is set to complete and then click in Record. After you bake your cloth simulation, you're gonna select all your garments. Go to File and select Point Cache 2 for the export. In my case, I want the garment to be thick, and you can set the scale to meters and then click OK. Inside Blender, we're gonna import our garment by going to File, Import, OBJ, and go to the Point Cache 2 file that you saved earlier. Make sure that the geometry is set to Keep Vertex Order and then click on Import. Now we have to import our cloth animation. Select your garment, go to the modifiers properties and select Mesh Cache. Change the format to PC2 and you simply import your point cache file. If your garment starts to show these black dots like mine, you can turn off the auto smooth option. Now you have to set the time remapping frame start to be the first frame of your animation. In my case it's 1. For the materials, go to the UV editing tab and on Unit Grid set the grid shape according to your UV tile size. In my case it's 3x2. After you've done that, we can go to the shading window and start applying the materials. And that's pretty much it. Keep in mind that this workflow still have some issues, like if you import too many trims and buttons, you're gonna have a lot of different materials for them. This is something that I still think how to solve it, but if you have any questions or even suggestions to improve this workflow, drop in the comments below. Probably I'm gonna update this video in the future. And yeah, I hope you liked this tutorial and I see you in the next video.